Our theme today is overcoming obstacles, and that's something Robert Mawson knows a lot about. After defeating numerous life-threatening ailments, Bob has been able to bounce back in big ways, from living with Eskimos in Greenland to trampling the jungles of Southeast Asia. He's here to tell us how he went from knocking on death's door to living life to the fullest. Bob, thank you so much for coming in.
It's a pleasure.
You are truly an inspiration. Now, I want to take you back about 30 years ago. Doctors were telling you that you needed a double heart valve replacement, and that if the surgery was successful, you had 5 years to live, assuming that you led a sedentary life. What went through your mind?
Well, at that moment in time, I was very angry. I couldn't believe that I only had 5 years left to live. And I knew that if I died, lots of people would be very sad, including myself. And I was determined that I wasn't going to just live another 5 years. And once the doctors realized my determination to live, they got that message. They were wonderful, wonderful surgeons, and they saved my life.
What did you do next?
Well, I didn't lead a sedentary life, and that's what they told me to do, and I...
No, you didn't.
I did not.
Tell us some of the things you did.
I lived and worked in 23 different countries around the world, and wherever my work and life took me, I found great adventures there. I climbed mountains in Iran. I tramped the jungles of Southeast Asia. I walked deserts in the Middle East. I went to the Arctic Circle. I did Outward Bound. I became a meditation instructor and a Buddhist monk in 2001. I actually ordained and became a Buddhist monk at that time. Those are some of the things that I've done.
Now, throughout all of that time, there were other ailments that came up. What were some of those things that happened during those times when you were taking those big risks?
Yeah. Well, in the last 30 years, I've suffered 6 sudden cardiac arrests and been defibrillated back again. In 1998, I had a defibrillator implanted into my chest. I had my gallbladder removed. I've had life-threatening pneumonia twice in 1 year. And 2 years ago, I actually had a heart transplant and received the heart of a 23-year-old woman. And that transplant was filmed and documented by the Discovery Channel. And just in September, I had a 7-hour operation to place some metal rods in my back, and the second part of the operation will take place in a few days' time.
So you're still going through all of this?
I am indeed, yes.
Bob, you are truly a medical miracle. What do you attribute that to?
I attribute that to my willpower. I don't want to die. I want to live every moment of my life. And when I do pass away, I want people to say, this is a man who really lived and loved life, and he lived it to the hilt. And meditation has been a very, very powerful tool for me in overcoming all of the obstacles, both mental and physical, I've faced through various illnesses.
How did you first start meditating?
My wife, Marcia Brewster, works at the United Nations. She'd lived in Thailand for 13 years, and when our sons were born here in New York 19 years ago, she hired a Thai nanny, and that Thai nanny went and meditated at a temple in Mount Vernon, New York. And she urged me to come with her and practice meditation. And I was rather skeptical, but somewhat curious anyway. And one evening I went with her and I met a Buddhist monk there who said he'd teach me if I would come 5 nights in succession. So I promised I'd do that. And after the first 4 sessions, I was absolutely positive it wasn't for me. And I told him that, and he said, well, come back for the 5th session.
You promised 5 sessions.
Yeah, I promised 5, and he said, come back for that 5th. And I came back, and it was on that 5th session that I felt the very profound effects of Dhammakaya meditation.
What kind of meditation is that? How is it different from other forms of meditation?
The word Dhammakaya is a Pali word from the ancient Pali language, and it means inner body of enlightenment. It constitutes meditation from various other meditation techniques, with visualization, with breathing. And one of the things special about this meditation is that you use a crystal ball as a focal point, and you imagine that crystal ball floating at the inside of your stomach. what takes place then inside that crystal ball? It doesn't matter what religion you are. You can meditate on a cross inside that crystal ball. A figure will appear, and a succession of figures. And those figures look rather like Buddha images, but they're not. They're called Dhammakayas. They are inner bodies of enlightenment. How they come about, I really don't know. But I've taught people of all different faiths, and they see those Buddha-like images inside that crystal ball.
Are those Buddha-like images different and are they individual? It depends
yes, they
on the
are.
person?
Each one is different. And each one is more beautiful and more refined than the first one. And one sees a succession of these Buddha images as one goes through the meditation, if one is a very good practitioner.
And what happens when you see these images? What happens to you?
When I first learned to meditate in Thailand at this beautiful Thai temple, where I was later ordained, it was there I became an instructor of this form of meditation. I meditated with 13 women who were like nuns. They're not called nuns, they have a different word for that in the Thai language, but with shaved heads and robes. And on the 5th day, they all crowded around me and were asking me in the Thai language, what happened to you? And I couldn't understand why they'd ask that question. But the word got round the temple, and there are 1,000 resident monks there, 2,000 live-in supporting lay staff, and hundreds of people came to ask me, what happened to you? And they said they could see it in my face. And when I looked in the mirror, I looked exactly the same as I always saw myself, except the whites of my eyes were very, very white, and my face was kind of shiny. What was going on for me inside is that I felt very, very happy, totally at peace with the world, and I felt a love for others, a very profound love that I'd never ever experienced before. And having been a professional soldier, never imagined I could have that